Hi, sorry. Did everybody get a message that it was going to be late today?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Just making sure. Then I couldn't even get on because it wouldn't connect me to the Wi-Fi. Like trying and trying. Let me get everyone's attendance here. Who is that? Joshua. So how is everyone? Good? Okay, they have you on chapter 6, correct?
Yep.
Today? Yes? Yes, okay. A lot of your workbook has to do with your own personal information. Did you notice that?
I was just thinking, I'm like, I don't know what we're really gonna talk about too much when it's all over.
That's what I said too. I'm like, okay, because I normally, myself, I usually skip it because you get salon business, that other, like, there's another book.
Well, they only told
Right?
us to do 3 of the smart notes, so.
They only told you to do 3 of the smart notes?
Yeah, it only says that we have to turn in 6.1, 6.2, and 6.3.
Wow.
But that's way fill up that, isn't it?
What?
We have to fill up because it's like personal stuff, like you do your own resume, cover letter.
Right. Did they tell you how to do your resume?
They just told us to go to resume.com.
Okay, so what they're wanting you to do, because it's going to go in your grad file, okay? They're going to want you to put the objective, and it should say seeking a position in the cosmetology field, okay, as your objective, and it should say you graduated from school. So like you put underneath your education that you graduated from Adrian's Beauty College. Okay.
I basically just said I didn't know I had to do full-on ones that were legit.
Well, the reason for that is because when you graduate here, you have to give one to, I usually get your grad files together. So I usually ask you to give it to me. So if you do it now, you don't have to worry about it. It's in your file and ready to go. Okay. I'm just giving you heads up. So like you can save it for the end, I guess, if you did, a different type of one, but those 2 pieces of information need to be on the one you grad with. Okay.
So then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that in for homework.
Okay.
And redo that. You guys can have a more professional one because it's professional, but it's more like where I want to be in my career later on. After.
Okay, so this one is supposed to be somewhat similar because you want it to pertain to your industry that you're working in, correct? And I can tell you right now, any job you've ever had, believe it or not, actually will work for this industry, because if you even worked at as a cashier, I don't care, 7-Eleven, getting change, you'll have to give change when you work in the salon. Is that my echo or is that somebody else's echo? Okay. So basically, we kind of prep you for that part of the industry, right? Customer service, how to approach someone or how to handle a bad situation. Say a customer is having a complaint and very upset. How would you handle the situation? That kind of stuff. So believe it or not, the teachers are supposed to be able to do that in front of you if you get a bad client, so that you can see how you should handle that type of a situation, right? Instead of just going full face at her. She just made me mad because I had to do 4 haircuts on her, okay? I think I read something on Facebook from one of our previous students, and he just told me that story. It's like, I cut his hair, did exactly what he wanted. When I was finished, he said, no, I think I'm gonna do this part. So he did it again, and he ended up doing 4 haircuts on the guy, and the guy still booked another appointment 2 days later. He goes, what the heck? I go, you know what? You've got to be very clear before you start so that you're both on the same page. I go, because if someone wanted to change it up after I've already finished it, that's another haircut, okay? Because I did what you asked me to do at the beginning, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff, because it'll save a lot of hardship later on. So the consultation is going to be very important, what you're doing. But everyone's had at least some type of a job, right? Working for your dad, or, you know, babysitting, or, you know, cutting lawns. I don't care what it is. You work someplace where you had to actually, you know, handle yourself in a professional manner. You're at school, you're going to have to do that, right? So,
I'm here. It's Victoria.
okay, let me get the rest of the students in here that I missed. Okay, Jasmine. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start calling people's names, and if I miss someone at the end, you can let me know, okay? All right, Jocelyn, I got you in here. Okay, Venetia, I got you. Anthony, I have you. Anna, I have you. Abby, I have you. Jasmine H, where are you? There you are. Okay, Shakur, wave your little hand or something. Did you leave? Okay. All right, Adriana. Ah, there you go. Thank you. Okay, Athena, you're gonna have to show
I'm
me.
here.
Okay. Victoria, we've got Susanna.
I'm here.
Okay, there you are. Look, it's okay until it starts to change everyone around. All right, Jasmine, I got you. Samantha. Right? H.
Here.
Did I miss anyone? Has everybody been called? There you go. Okay, I guess I got everyone. So we're all set. So I'm just looking now at this workbook. And it is basically all about your resume, huh? Well, has anyone even started their resume besides Anthony? No? Have you got any idea how to start one? Let's put it
I
that way.
started mine too.
Okay, so do you guys, have you written one ever before? Is this going to be your first time?
First time for me.
Okay, all right, so if it's going to be your first time, okay, you will have to go through like the handout where it said on page 163 where it starts the salon business or the salon industry, and it says a personal profile, and basically you're just putting down into words what you like to do, okay? Your working conditions, your career goals, right? You're going to set that on a separate piece of paper because at one point we're going to put it in a certain area on the resume is what I'm getting at. But the beginning of your resume should have your name, your address, your phone number, email account, okay? And any other, I guess, mandatory, excuse me, just a minute. Who sent me the chat? I just wave your hand like this so I'll know who you are because it doesn't have a name next to it. Okay, Jocelyn, I'll get with you later, okay? All right, because I don't even know what it is, but I'm like, all right, I'll do it. All right, the second page of this, okay, it talks about your, excuse me, personal data. We did that. Educational background, your job experience. Let me ask you this. If you have never had a job, you're going to focus mainly on your education, okay? If you have a little bit of both, it'll be up to you which one you want to put first, education or job experience, okay? You want to kind of, those of you that have like 900 jobs, I'm just saying, okay, you want to make it the most recent because you want to fit all of this on one page, okay? Because you'll have a cover letter to go with it, but on the resume, most people look at one page. They don't want to look at 5 pages. You know, yeah, you might be experienced, or how about just putting down the information or the job experience that pertains to this job? How's that? Do you understand what I'm saying as far as putting down a job experience? If you've never written one before, there are, like they said, what page was that on? Rent a resume? What is it, John? Anthony?
If you go to resumes.com, they basically give you you fill it in.
Okay, then that would work.
Yeah.
Okay. So like I had said before, you guys are going to have to turn in one when you get ready to graduate. So I usually have my students, when we get to this chapter, to do their resume so that I stick it in the file and it's ready to go when they're finished. You're also going to have to do what's known as a grad plan. I know that sounds scary, but it's not. It's actually 3 sentences. The first sentence is, what are you going to be doing from the time that you graduate until the time you take your test? Okay. Some of you, it'll be personal to each one of you. So some of you might say, I need a vacation. I'm going to take that before I actually take my test. Or some of you are going to say, I'm going to study until I take my test. So it's just one sentence there. The second sentence is going to be, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Okay. It's going to be like, where do you want to go? And then the third sentence is, where do I see myself in 10 years? So they're like a 5-year goal and a 10-year goal, but they also want to know what you were doing from the time you graduate, because some of you might not be able to get your test like right away, you know? They do a pre-app service if you ask, you know, if you ask them to, you get all your work done ahead of time. When you've completed 75% of the course, okay, you can actually ask, the date will be real close to your graduation, within like 2 to 3 weeks usually. Okay, if you do the pre-app. If you don't do the application until you graduate, then you'll just wait that a little bit longer for it. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. It's a $9 extra charge, but it's not such a big deal because most of the stuff goes online now. It's not like mailing it off like we used to do. Okay, so that'll be up to you if you want to just wait until the end or if you want to pre-app. Okay, those of you that really want in a hurry to get out, that's probably what you want to do as a pre-app. And I think it's at 1,200 hours. Okay, or 1,200 or 1,250. But when you get real close to those hours, you want to let your teacher know. Okay, say, hey, I'm interested in doing a pre-app. Can I do that? Okay, and they charge you a fee. You pay for your licensing fee and you pay for your testing fee. Okay, and then the $9 on top of that. So I'm not quite sure how much the Cosmos ones are, but I do know that there's three payments in that whole thing. What happens when you take your test, though, is if you pass both parts, you get a license, obviously, okay? But let's say you didn't pass the written, but you passed the practical, okay? Then you have 1 year from the date that you take that, okay, to take the written again and pass it, okay? If you pass it, then they'll give you your license, but you'll only have to take the written part. If it goes past a year from the last time, you're gonna have to take both parts again, okay? So most of you, I'm going to say 99% of you are going to pass your practical, and it's easy. Okay, you can actually probably take that practical and pass it better than anybody that's graduating, to be honest, because your guys are really fresh out of freshman, and everything that you did in freshman is what you're going to be doing at the board. Only it's just going to be little pieces of it. Okay, the only thing that they request or require you to do is a haircut. Try and get through the haircut, but everything else is just a section. Like a section to do a highlight, a section to do, you know, a color, a section to do a relaxer. It's all just little pieces all throughout the testing. But the haircut, they do want you to have, try and get through at least half the head. And I suggest you do the back first, okay? Because if you don't do the back first, you have to wrap a perm right afterwards. And it's gonna be very difficult if the hair is long and short. Do you understand what I mean by finishing the back first? Okay, so I've given you your options on that, all right? On testing. So let me load up the actual lesson plan for you. Just give me a second here. I wish I could load this up way before, but I can't. So on your homework, was it just on a resume that they asked you to do?
They wanted a cover letter too, but they just weren't specific. Like, I just figured it was going to be like to train us how to do it, not to do an actual like right now one.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to actually give you guys some instruction on that, okay? The cover letter, I'm going to tell you, you're going to apply for a job from me. Okay, let's just say I'm owning a salon and you're seeking a position with me. So the cover letter is an introduction, and you're going to write down that you're seeking the position I have available, whether it's online or in a newspaper ad or something like that. That's what you're going to write about. You're seeking the position that's been advertised wherever you want to put it, newspaper, online, okay? And say, just tell me a little bit about yourself. Kind of really short, but an introduction to your resume, I guess you could say.
So
But
what,
you can just send it off to me.
sorry.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
What assignment, what lesson is this in on Pivot Point? Is this a lesson or is it like a paper that we got?
It's actually chapter 6, salon business.
Oh, okay.
And in that, have you looked at your textbook for chapter 6?
I'm looking at it right now.
Okay. All right. So it basically is having you fill in that information more than me going through it, I guess you could say, like we normally do on our lesson plans. What is this thing doing here? Okay. Why it's not pulling this up? Okay. There we go. We won't close out this page. Okay, there we go. And I'm checking through here, and the first part of it, of 6.1, is like, it's all about you guys. So let me go through this. It might be a little bit easier to help you fill in certain parts of it anyways. There we go. Sorry that you have to wait for this.
The book kind of just was like, tells you about it. You know what I mean? Like the smart notes is really just, it's you. You have to.
Yeah, that's basically what I was thinking too. I'm like,
yeah.
how did this?
The book doesn't even,
even-
it helps you, but it doesn't, it's not going to do anything of this for you.
Right, because I can't just say, okay, everybody does this, because everybody's different,
Right.
and this is pertaining to you individually, yes. Okay, so it might have a little video or something in there, let's see. Okay. Well, that's not gonna do it right here. Do you have, I'm gonna ask you this, Anthony, do you have another book, like an outside book for salon business at all?
Yes, there's
Okay.
yes, salon fundamental, or no, salon
Cosmetic,
like
cosmetic
color and
fundamental.
texture.
I'm sorry. I got Venetia broken in, so I didn't get to hear what you said, Anthony, sorry.
So basically, like how we have one for color, we have one for texture, we have one, there's one for that.
Okay, that's what I was gonna ask. All right, so we're gonna start this and just see if it can help answer some questions, because it's not like a regular chapter, which I think is odd.
So how do you test for this when you give us a
That's
test?
just, let me look at the back of this thing and see what it actually shows for, oh, okay. So it will test you on the parts for 6.4.
Okay,
So that's the area where we basically should start, if you think about it. You know, I'm gonna start it off here and just answer some questions for some of you if you need questions answered. But it is something about you, each of you individually. Okay, does that make sense? It's, I can't fill it in for those of you that are in there. You have to fill that part in. So it's like former school experience. I'm just using that as an example. It says for past so many months, it leaves a blank, and it says, I have studied cosmetology at. So pretty much you're filling in that information. Okay, and you would obviously put North Adrian's Beauty College. And if you were, you know, not absent, it was like 13 months. Okay, somebody else is coming in here. Okay, Alicia, thank you. Okay. So let's go, see if I can share this page with you. It's not even it. Here, hold on 1 second. I remember what happened here. See, I can see everybody on here. I swear. I'm so impatient. I really am. When it comes back up. Okay. This is so much different on this one here. Okay, come on. There we go. Slide. So you can still see my screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's going to open up here in just a second. I just want to get some of you started that haven't done this chapter yet, okay? Hope to answer some questions for you at least. There we go. And when is this due? Does it have an end
So,
date?
yeah, so, I mean, it's normal, as far as I know, we're supposed to have, you know, like we normally do the Zoom for today, whatever our assignments
Zoom.
are, and then the smart notes, but they only
Okay.
said 1 through 3. So that's all I did was 1 through 3.
Yes. Well, I think 1 through 3 is what you have to fill in yourself personally, because when you get to 4, then that's when my actual notes for the teaching part come in.
Oh, I didn't do
That's about-
anything after that.
Okay, so 4 is what we're going to be basically starting, because it goes into the different types of businesses, like, you know, a private owner or proprietorship, okay, partnerships, corporations, that kind of stuff. And then it talks about, you know, the assets and your how to get a loan and that kind of stuff. But the first 3 that they asked you to do, it has all to do with personal information for each one of you. Okay, so I'm going to answer some questions today on that, and then actually start up on 4 to actually fill in your workbook. Does that make sense to you?
That's fine.
You have no other choice of doing this that way. If you've already filled in the rest of it, then this is going to be easy. Okay. There we go. What's it doing? Having trouble finding it. Hate this time. Well, I can't get this to work too. Okay, so if you're on the handout, right, on page 163, you have personal profile, right? Some of you who have not filled it in, kind of raise your hand. Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Do you know what kind of interest you have that you want to write down? I don't know if it's horseback riding, like gambling. No, I'm just joking. Okay. Certain interests that you want to put this information into your resume. Usually I'd put it at the very bottom, like special interests, which normally I would write down, could add additional information upon request, is usually what I say at the bottom. It says, I like what type of working conditions. Okay. Can you get along with just about anybody? That's what they're asking. Okay. Do you follow directions? Okay. I hope to become career goals. Most of you probably want to be your own business, right? Business owner, whether it's in a shop with other stylists or just on yourself, or maybe you want to manage. Okay. What are your career goals? Okay. How do you plan on getting those goals achieved? Is probably the next part of it. And then it always goes into 3s of them. It's like first, then, and finally. So I kind of go back to my grad plan because I'm like, okay, what am I going to be doing from the time I graduate till the time I take my test? I'm going to be studying. Okay. My next part of this is I want to work in a shop and build up a clientele. And my 3rd one would be, I'd like to own my own business. Right. So think in those kind of terms when they're talking about your goals, first, then, and finally. Right. On the next page, it talks about strategies that you would use. So it says, talk to a salon professional who worked in salons you admire. Okay. Check the classified section of a paper and talk to distributor sales consultants. These are people that come in and service you as far as your products, shampoos, conditioners, that kind of stuff. Okay. Because they always have the leads on where jobs are opening at, you know, and they might be able to tell you, you know, you might be a good fit at this salon, right? They're giving you just heads up. It says check with job placement at the school. We have a bulletin board by Donovan's office that will list up, you know, jobs that are opening or people that need stylists. Sometimes they even have receptionist jobs there if you're looking for a part-time job. You know, that's what I did when I was still in beauty school for 6 months. I worked in the mall and just made appointments. I learned a lot there. I really did learn a lot. Then it says canvass the area you would like to work. And then it says to mail out your resumes with a cover letter. Let me ask you something. Where do you guys plan on working? Okay. Do you plan on working here in Modesto? Do you plan on moving to another location? Where do you see yourself actually seeking a position? Go ahead.
To start out, I mean, after I graduate, I plan on building a little bit of clientele here for a little bit, maybe 2-3 years, but I'm not staying here because what I want to do is not going to flourish out here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Where do you want to go though?
I plan on moving to LA
Okay.
and doing it out
And
there.
there's like a salon every like, huh?
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
plan on going to school for special effects makeup and body painting.
Oh, have you looked into it?
Not
Like
yet.
so far yet?
Mm-mm.
Okay, you got Joe Blasco down there. Okay, he's one of the good schools that are down there. There's one, I know this sounds really crazy, but there's one in Canada that is awesome. It was an old firehouse. Okay, so it's 3 stories. They start you out on just daytime makeup, and then it moves up to like bridal and runway, and then it goes all the way up to prosthetics. Okay, so it takes you up these stages. And I think it's a 9-month course. I'm not sure if there's financial aid, but you would, what I do know is you have to be on the United States side and have to go into Canada because it's real close to the border to go to school every day because you can't live there unless you're living with a family member, right? You can't even rent an apartment or anything over there, but they have this most awesome school. The name of it is called Complexions, okay? But it is in Canada, 9-month course. And they really do some crazy work. Okay, they're on what's that show that's on now? They have the little contestants where they're putting on the theatrical makeup.
The Face Off.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of. They have a lot of people that have come from that school, but you can look them up online. They have a great website that you can see all their work. I'm trying to think of who else in LA. I'm from LA. That's why I asked you, Anthony. Whereabouts in LA did you want to go?
Isn't Krylon out there?
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different places out there. I don't know, is Krylon a school though? They actually have a school that you can go to?
I don't know. Somebody told me it was.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ones where you're paying for classes, like you'll take 3 weeks of this type of class and then you'll bump up and do another class and it just continues like that. They don't actually start you out on prosthetics just when you first start, you know, so that's kind of cool though. It really is a neat industry. I just thought, yeah. I had a makeup artist that was one of my girlfriends in beauty school and we were coming to school late, really late. And she had her makeup bag in the back seat. So we were getting pulled over by a cop and she just kept yelling at me to get this blood bag out of her bag. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So she pulls the bag out, puts it in my hands and popped it. So there was blood, like fake blood going everywhere. So when the cop finally came up to the window, she told him that we had to get to the hospital because I was bleeding. I had cut myself and that's why we were speeding, but we didn't get a ticket. He just gave us an escort to the hospital. It was like, like, you're crazy. But you know, you can have a lot of fun with those prosthetics. Have you had any chance with Miss Sue trying to show you how to do the Halloween makeup, like the cuts and
I did
lashes and stuff?
I did it one time with Miss Connie.
Mm-hmm. Did you like it?
I did like it. I watched every show that has come out, Glow Up, anything makeup related. like I'm on it. So
Yeah,
I
they-
definitely have a fascination for wanting it, wanting to do it. So I want to create
But-
characters, monsters, all of
Oh,
it.
yeah, it is fun. How about anybody else? Do you have a specific field of cosmetology that you want to work on? I'm still waiting for this to load up and it's just not. Okay. Someone
I
else
want
wanted
to
to?
go into aesthetic stuff like laser, like more on the medical side.
So are you going to go back for your registered nurse? Because you
Uh,
will need that to do laser.
I needed the cosmetologist license to go back to do like laser and all other stuff like Botox fillers and all these things. So
Do you have a license as a nurse so far?
I had my license from London, but I can't use it here. So that's the
Oh,
reason
yeah.
yeah.
Let me say something about that because I wanted to do that type of thing too once I was in the esthetician department. And what I found out is a registered nurse is going to be like 4 years, you know, studying, right? But you
Yeah.
could be a physician's assistant in less time and a lot less paperwork.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay,
that's
and it's a lot easier to get through that program than it would be for the nursing program because it's really difficult to get. It's like a lottery to get into that school to begin with. But you do have to you have to be a registered nurse in order to give an injection and in order to do laser hair removal or any type of
But
laser.
London, it was different in London because you just
You
have
need
to
an
go to
esthetician's
school,
license.
yeah, to the esthetician license and get the license from the company you're working with. They train you, you do your exams with them, and then you're good to go. Whereas here it's different.
In the state of California, they don't recognize a medical esthetician or a medical cosmetologist, okay? They do, however, in Utah, and like just an aesthetic course here is 600 hours, right? It's 1,200 hours for an aesthetic in Utah, and you do get to do laser hair removal, okay? You do get to do a lot of other things, but it's an advanced class. But California does not recognize it. So when women are telling me, oh, I'm a medical esthetician, I go, there's no such thing in California. It's an esthetician and that's it. Anything else, it falls in the medical field. So
Yeah, but again, like that's my reason to go through this cosmetology license thing. But now I kind of like whatever I'm doing, like hair and stuff. So maybe I'll change my mind.
isn't it funny how you decide you automatically, once you get into something else that's part of this field, you're like, I like this. I really like this part of it.
Thought I will do hair. That wasn't my thing at all. But I'm enjoying it, so that's a good thing.
And mine wasn't skin. And look where I'm at.
I love on the skin side, what like everything, like whether it's manicure, pedicure, facial, or whatever, everything.
That's good.
But hair wasn't my thing. Yeah.
How about someone else? Where do you plan on working? Sam, where do you plan on working? Here, the Bay Area, where do you want to go?
I'm kind of deciding between the Bay Area and here. I have a sister that lives out there, so I might like go and do that whole thing, live with her, or stay here. I'm not sure yet.
Good, okay. Anyone else want to tell a story that's where they want to go? Y'all being shy on me? Okay, well, let me let you in on a little secret. Find a place that you can actually build your speed up when you first get out of school, okay? And build up a little bit of a clientele, but you want to be in a shop that's pretty busy. Don't pick something that's small, okay, to be honest with you, because you won't, unless you're out on the pavement handing out business cards and trying to seek your own business, you're not going to get a lot of clientele. So you want to be in a place where it's rather busy, maybe 10 stylists in there, because they're going to give you the overflow. When they're busy and they can't handle it, you're going to be getting their clientele. So you're going to keep yourself busy that way, okay? And usually when a walk-in comes in, they're going to give it to you because most of the older stylists,
Oh my
see what
God.
I'm saying?
I'm in
So
you, Janie. Hold on.
find something if you want to work in this industry. Who's talking? Okay. So find something in this industry where you can learn a lot from other people and still be busy. Because if you don't stay in this industry past 5 years, be honest with you guys, you're not going to be in it at all. Okay. The first 5 years of that you?
Yeah, I keep getting in you. I don't know why.
Like looking at this, like, what are you doing in here? Okay. So seek out where you want to work, which area it is, okay? And I always did this one little thing. I walked into the salon and I might have gotten a style, a haircut, something in there, but I like to sit in the lobby and say, I'm looking through the magazines, okay? And then I watch how the other stylists interact with each other. Is this a place I really want to work at, okay? Is the energy kind of good, okay? Do I feel comfortable in here? Because a lot of times you might be really wanting that job, and then when you finally get in there, you're like, I don't like these people. They're just mean to each other, okay? So okay, so that's what I say about going in and getting a feel for the place that you want to work, okay? You don't, maybe you don't want a haircut, but at least get a blow dry so that you can keep your ears open and listen to the conversation, find out how the boss is without being too conspicuous, like I'm really just trying to check you guys out. But that's what you're actually trying to do. You want to find out if you were going to be a good fit for that place, okay? So that's one way of looking at it. Most of these places that are like Clipper, what is it, Great Clips and all of the chains, okay, they're great places to start out because they build your speed up, okay? Great Clips is really good as far as helping each other out as like a stylist, okay? I know that the Riverbank one is really good. I've sent students up there that were still kind of shaky on their clippers, but because of the manager in the salon, she was actually walking over and not making you feel uncomfortable, but saying, hey, did you ever see how this is done? You know, instead of you struggling, trying to find out how to get this haircut done. She doesn't embarrass you at all. She works with you. And that's a good feeling because you don't want to feel uncomfortable when you're already nervous, okay? This is your first job, all right? So think about those things, all right? All right, you know, questions, you really kind of do have to have an idea of where you want to go, okay? Where you want to start out. And then you can fill in the rest of this information. Like I said about the cover letter at the very bottom, it says salon name. Why don't you just put in there North Adrian's Beauty College, okay? That's who you're going to send the cover letter supposedly to, okay? And then you can just write, Dear Miss Janie, okay? And it says, I'm writing this letter to introduce myself and describe my personal and professional aspirations. It's my intentions to interview for the position at, and then you can just give this address, okay? It's like 124 Floyd, all right? And then you're going to put in your present work status. So those of you that have a handout, you can actually fill that in and then photocopy it, I guess, and send it to the school or hand it in on Thursday. I don't know how you turn in your homework. Okay, that would be one way of doing it. The next page talks about your former school experience. This is where you're going to put, you graduated from here, okay, at Adrian's Beauty College. The date, you're just going to put the year. You don't have to put like, okay, September 27th. Okay. And then put the year that you're this year, or if it's next year, because you're going to be here still in school at that point, just put the year in there. Especially skills, put the things that you like to do. Like I want to specialize in color, or I want to specialize in hair cutting, or I want to specialize in texture. Okay. Put down the things that you're really, really interested in. And this is where you would actually add things like additional certificates that you get from the school, okay? When they have contests here, you know, makeup contest or something to do with extracurricular activity, but it's still part of our industry, okay? Or if you took a class outside of the school, all right? Or gone to a skin show or a hair show, okay? You can always put that information in there. Then it goes into your position applied for, and it says, at this point in my career, I am especially interested in working on a, and then you're going to fill in that little blank. Okay, what do you plan on working on? All right, do you want to be the receptionist? Do you want to be the stylist? What is it, the colorist? Okay, put down what you plan on working in as far as that field. Does that make sense? I mean, I don't know how to go through this workbook any other way. It's all about you, you guys. All right, and then it says contact information. It says my application and resume are attached. Please know that I am available for personal interview at your convenience. Should you require additional information or references, please contact me at, and then just put a fake number in there. You don't have to put it in, you know what I mean? I don't want you to put that in there. But a lot of times at the very bottom, most of the time we will put in there, if you need additional information or references, it's available upon request. That way, you know, not everybody has to see all of that information. And usually you cover the rest of that information in an interview when they ask you to come in and they start talking to you about it, that's basically where you can add that extra information, right? It's your time to shine so that they hire you. Okay, and then you just finished off the letter at the bottom where it says, I look forward to talking to you respectfully, and then just put your name in there. Okay, hold on, still getting people coming in.
Miss Jenny,
Huh? Go ahead.
where is this at? What handout is it?
The handout is usually given, Miss Sue usually hands it out to you. When does she, on like Friday? Is it Friday that she hands it out? Okay, if you have your textbook.
So the handout
Okay, go
you're
ahead.
talking about is the pivot point. Smart.
Yes. Yeah. Is it on here or is it, did she hand it out to us?
So that's the same stuff, the smart notes that you find when you're on the pivot point. So when you go onto the computer on the pivot point,
Mm-hmm.
Or
that's where their
6.2.
smart notes are. It's 6.1,
6.2.
6.2, 6.3.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Mhm. So I'm going to give you a hint, though. You're going to have to
Okay,
save
thank you.
the work. Okay, you save the work to the computer, because if you type it in and then you don't save it, it's not going to save unless you save it to your computer, not to the program, but to your computer. Okay, so that you can go back again later and print it or something. That's what you would be doing. All right, I'm just giving you a heads up because a lot of people will tell me that it's not saving, and I'm like, you got to save it to your computer.
Yeah.
What if you'd like to do everything? Then you let them know that you're good at everything. You know, you're interested in all of it. Okay. You might have one thing that you do like more than anything else. Okay. And you might want to just focus just one little sentence, you know, I really do enjoy coloring. Okay. And you can actually tell them what you did in school. Did you do a lot of hair color in school? Because some of you hide from that when they call clients up. Okay. You kind of shy away from the colors or the corrective ones, or sometimes you don't want to do texture. Okay. Kind of just leave that part out. Not so much I don't like it, okay, or I don't want to do it. Just don't add that into the things that you do like, okay, the things that you want to do. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm like trying to figure out how to go through this, and it's just all personal information. Then it goes into the job search, which is 6.2, right? And that's where
Right.
you're actually filling in applications. My generation, which is old, okay, we handed out our resumes to a business. We walked right into them. But nowadays, they're asking you to fill out applications online before you even go in there, correct? Most of you, when you got a job, you had to fill it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a little different. But I'd always keep a resume on the side to help me fill in my information on those applications. Because no matter what, they're going to want you to fill out an application and your resume. Okay, they're like, don't hand me the resume if you don't fill out the application, right?
Pretty much.
Most people go, no, it's on my resume. It's like, no, I want you to fill out this too. Okay, and that has to do with following directions right off the bat. They're checking to see if you are going to follow directions. And if you're going to fight him on it, then what's he going to do? I'm not going to hire somebody that I got to constantly, you know, go over and over why I want them to do it. Okay.
That's right.
It is. It's so true. All right. Then it goes into your school information and it's breaking it down even more. Okay. And then it says other skills again. Your career objectives. Right there, you're just going to put in there seeking a position in the cosmetology field, right? Or if you're just going to be doing haircuts, you just want to be a stylist, then you're seeking a position as a hairstylist, okay? Or colorist. I'm just saying, cosmetology covers everything, but if you want to focus on one thing, then that's what you're going to put in there.
What are we doing when we get back?
When you get back from, from break?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll probably move into chapter 7, which is trichology, isn't it? It's hair. Does that make sense? You
Yeah.
might have a little quiz. I might go through like 6.4 if we don't finish it tomorrow. Okay, that's where I'll actually start. So the rest of this, like I'm just gonna cover what you were supposed to do on 1, 2, and 3. All right, so that you could turn in your homework, and then we'll start on 4 tomorrow. You might have a little test coming back, but you normally will come back on a Tuesday, and I don't like to give you a test when you've been off for a long time. So how about if we review Tuesday, okay, of this chapter, and then let you test on Wednesday? How's that sound? Right, because I don't expect you to study over the week, the long weekend, all right? So tomorrow we'll start up on 4, okay? So if you want to start working on that tonight, but we're going to go through it in class tomorrow. Does that sound okay?
That's fine. What chapters did you say again?
We're on 6, okay? So we're going to be able to review when you come back on
Chapter
Tuesday.
6.
Right, okay. But it's going to be like 6.4. I can't give you a test on your information. Okay.
Right.
You didn't write
So
your
we
name
get-
correctly. You didn't write your address or your phone. You know what I mean?
Right. So we're getting
it'll be
tested
on the,
getting tested on 6.4.
yes. Okay, but
Okay.
we'll review it on Tuesday and then you can test it on Wednesday. All right. Questions you can ask, okay? Have you ever asked questions at an interview or are you too nervous to even ask? Okay. What about how you're going to get paid? You want to know how you're going to get paid, right? You want to know if you get benefits. Do you give sick days? Do you give vacation pay? Do I get a percentage on my retail products that I sell you? And how much is that percentage? Okay. Am I getting an hourly rate or am I getting an hourly plus the commission or am I just getting a commission? These are all questions that you really do need to ask. Okay. Most of the time it's like a 50-50 kind of split when they're doing a commission, but they have to pay you hourly plus that commission or just hourly. Okay. And I'm going to let you know that employers, if they're paying you hourly and you're not busy, they will have you do things like clean the bathroom, okay, do the laundry. Get over it. If you're not doing something, they're paying you for it, so they're going to expect you to do this thing. And that's why we actually have you guys here sweeping floors, okay, taking out the garbage, doing your sanitation, okay, because you will do it in the shop, all right? And you want to be prepared so you're not saying, I never do that, I'm not doing that part, because we do have people telling them that. They're like, they don't want to work. They're like, I'm just a hairstylist. And it's like, well, it comes with a job. Who's going to clean up your laundry? You use towels, right? For your clients, right? Your clients use the restrooms, you use the restrooms, okay? You have a break room, a dispensary where you have product in there that everyone shares, colors, perms, that kind of stuff. So everything has to be pretty much split between everybody. And so when you're not busy, you're going to be doing that kind of stuff. All right. Dress code. Okay. We used to have a full-length mirror that used to be on the door of the admissions. Okay. And so it faced the clinic floor. And right above it, it was etched and it said, would you hire this person? So it was like, because we like to check ourselves out in the mirror so well. All right. And then it said, take a look at yourself. Would you hire that person? Okay. And it's sometimes you'd have to take a second glance and go, no, I don't think so. I got holes in my jeans. I got stains in my pants. Okay. My clothes are all wrinkled. Okay. And my makeup's not on and my hair's just jacked up. Okay. So these are all things that you have to think about when you're going for that interview and when you're working there. Okay. They may have a dress code. You may not like having to wear your uniforms here, but you still will have to use them when you get out in the real world. Okay. And it's a good thing too, because I've gotten hair stuck in my chest and it had to be split open. The skin had to literally be lanced to get that hair out. So if I had had a jacket on, I wouldn't have had to worry about it because the jacket would have collected that hair. Okay. And it's that really, really straight Asian hair, okay, or Hispanic hair sometimes. It gets really into your skin when you're cutting. So you have to be very careful. So your uniform is there to protect you. Okay. What else would you think about? What would you like to do as far as if you were hiring somebody, what would be the first thing you would ask them when you interviewed yourself pretty much? Okay. Think about that question.
I need to log off.
All right, hon.
Thank you.
Because you know what they call, they call the school and they say, you know what the students aren't doing? They are not showing up on time. They're always 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes late. It's like when you're supposed to be there, that's their biggest pet peeve is that people do not show up on time. Okay, so after a while, they get tired of it and they'll just let you go. Okay, so when they give you a time frame, you want to make sure that you are ready to work at that time. So if you're supposed to be there at 9 o'clock, You're supposed to have your makeup on and your hair done, okay, and you're dressed properly, not you come in and you put your makeup on and do your hair at work, okay?
Yeah.
Because that's not what he's paying you for. Anthony, were you gonna say something?
No, I mean, I'm a manager, so
Uh-huh.
I've done hiring and I've done all of this. So the stuff that you're talking about is it's pretty on the
Pretty
spot.
much.
Like
Yep.
when you clock
So
in
what's
and
your
you
biggest
do,
peeve?
huh?
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Well, it's like they come in and they clock in and then they want to put their stuff in the back and take their jacket off and all. No, because I'm not paying you for that. Like when you clock
Exactly.
in, you need to be ready to work.
Exactly. And that's exactly what they tell us. It's like, they're not ready to work when they're supposed to be here. All right, they're having to do a lot of other things. Well, wait until I put my stuff down, like you said, okay? Or I gotta go put my uniform on, or give me a minute, I gotta go do something really quick, okay? And it's like 30 minutes to an hour before they're actually ready to work, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And people will start docking your time, and they can because you're not ready to work. I wouldn't put you out there if you didn't have your makeup on and your hair done. You were working in this industry, in the beauty industry. Do something. Come in looking like a professional, okay? Because a lot of you want to make that moolah, okay, and you want to be able to charge for that moolah, but if you're not going to do your end of it, nobody's going to want to pay you, okay? What do you look at when you walk into a salon? What's the first thing you do? You look around and see how people are dressed, right? How they're talking, how they're working. That's how you choose your stylist sometimes, right? So you don't
Yep.
think that the clientele is going to be doing the same thing? Right?
Definitely.
It's
When
first impressions.
Yeah, when I had my salon, most of the time when my client would come, like I always had my nails nicely done. So that was kind of my selling point. So whenever they would come at my salon, so they will look at the nails, say, hey, I want the nails same color or this and that.
Mhm.
And sometimes I try to sell colors that I haven't been using for a while. So I just wear them. And for a week, I'll be doing the same color for all the
Mhm.
client because they want it. They see it on my fingers. So yeah.
Right? You're like a selling point to them. A lot of people won't even try coloring their hair until they see you do it. All of a sudden you change your hair up and they're like, oh,
Well,
that's
that's what my
different. That looks
aunt
kind of
told
cool.
me. My
Mhm.
aunt's got really pretty white hair, but she
Uh-huh.
never shows it. She always wears wigs because she's like in the salon industry. She goes, how do I expect to sell color
Exactly.
if I got white hair?
Yeah. And if you're not doing that, they're not going to get the client interested in it. You're going to get that same person who goes, okay, I want you to take half an inch off and leave it just the same way it is. And that's not how you're going to increase your business, right? You want
Yeah.
your clients trying new things. You know, I tried to tell my estheticians the same thing. I'm like, they don't want to do a body treatment. I said, so you do from the knee down on one leg, just to give them a little tease. And I go, by the time you finish that one little leg, they're like, oh yeah, okay, you could do the whole body now. But people they want to see you change so that they'll change, because they'll sit in their comfort zone forever, okay? And your clientele, believe it or not, is going to be like you. This sounds so funny, but it's so true. The clientele that sticks with you is going to be more like your personality,
That's
okay?
good,
Unless you
'cause
can
that's
change.
that's exactly.
It's exactly right, right? So if you want that clientele that's got all that money, you're going to have to put out a little bit to make it look like she should come to you, okay? She really is. She's not going to come to you if you're just, nobody makeup on, your hair's not done, okay? Or see you styling and putting your makeup on as she's coming into the salon. What? You're not ready to work? You've been here, what, since 9? And it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, okay? Come on, all right? But it's true. Your clientele reflects you, your personalities, because they kind of attach to you. It's weird. So you learn to be a chameleon. You take in everything they say, and you keep a little bit in there going, oh my God, I've never heard this before. You let it go out the other ear, okay, to be honest with you. You don't want to repeat what you hear in there. And sometimes you don't want to repeat what's on the floor. I've had clientele not realizing that so-and-so's sister's sitting in the next chair and had to hear this whole horrible story about her sister, okay? So sometimes it's like, okay, I'm just listening in on this side and taking it all in, and you just don't repeat anything that someone tells you. You stay away from religion, you stay away from politics, you stay away from a lot of things right now, okay? Everybody's so sensitive about everything, and you don't want to, make anyone feel bad, okay? So you've got to be careful how you talk to your clients, okay? And a lot of times about your own personal views and opinions and things like that. You know, you try to want to stay kind of neutral, all right? Because the minute you start to pick up one little, you know, cause, they're right behind you or they're not behind you, okay? And it does hurt a business if you're talking about these things. What else do you look for, Anthony, when you're hiring somebody?
So it depends on what I need. Like the first thing I do when I do an interview is I ask them straight up, are you full-time? Are you part-time? Like, are you going to school? Are you planning on going on vacation soon? Like all of that. Like, are you?
Yeah, because I'm expecting you here.
So like, because it's an interview for me. Like I interview tons of people. So I don't believe in doing a whole interviewing process if right up from the bat you're telling me, oh, well, I can't sell this and I feel uncomfortable with that because of the brand.
Yeah, you're limited to what you can do, right? It's like you're applying a job for me, not me applying for you, pretty much. So you want to be pretty open with what you can do. No, don't ask for vacations and days off. Okay, there's always a 90-day training time. Okay, probationary time where they can let you go or not let you go. You're going to be on your best behavior, showing up on time. Okay, and being ready to work. Don't be afraid to step up and say, hey, can I help in something else? Okay, seriously, because a lot of people don't even want to do that. They're like, this is my job, my area, I'm not moving. And that's not going to get you past the front door, to be honest with you.
Like
What
having
was that, huh?
spirit, like a team spirit is important when you are these kind of job, because you need to help. It's not because the other one did a haircut and you won't clean the floor or these kind of things. Because I've been working in a place where we were like 20 staff, 20 girls working, and we made it because there was like a good team spirit. We were always helping each other, so that kind of make a better environment to work.
Yeah, it makes a good environment to work in, huh? When you're not like backstabbing. Another thing is to back up your other employees, your coworkers. Okay, if something is not completely right and they're, oh no, that looks really good, you don't want to go up there and go, what the heck happened to that lady's hair? Okay, you all work together. Here's one thing I've also heard from a client. They're saying, you know what, I don't like going in when the stylist tells me, oh, they're just idiots here. They're all idiots. They're always complaining about their work environment. Okay, always. And you're like, why would they even be saying something like that? Okay, oh, is business good? No, business is bad. I just, I hate these people. All these people I work with are all dumb. And I'm like, okay, so as a person getting something done, a client, okay, I'd be going, if you're so smart and everybody else is so stupid, why are you still there? That's what I would be thinking. So you want to make sure that you're letting them know, always, I don't care how slow it is, always busy, because they want to know that they're going to the busy shop too, okay? So you always let them know that the shop's busy, everything's good, everybody gets along with each other, you back each other up. I don't care, put on your acting skills. I know all you want to be actors anyways, because that's what you're going to be doing, okay? You've got to make it look like everybody gets along. You really do, because after a while, the clients will feel that, like, oh, it's like cutting a knife when I walked into that place. They can feel it. So all of you working together, all of you helping each other is one really good thing to keep up there, okay? And we're talking about time, the time frame, showing up and being able to work right when you're supposed to. What else? I'm trying to think of what else would you like to know about that person? How long they've been in the industry. Do you know, I never told anybody that I was just out of school, okay? A lot of them knew it because I was working behind the desk for like 6 months, okay? But they gave me an opportunity. But if this client's never seen you, I've been doing hair for a couple of years, 5 years. Who's gonna say no? Everyone that you're working with, they're not gonna turn up and say, oh no, she just got out of school 6 months ago, okay? They're not going to, but a client would like to hear that you've been in the industry a little bit longer. And if you think about it, even if you got your license tomorrow, okay, you have been studying for the last year, right? So you can count that time, okay? I'd always say at least 2 to 3 years, okay? You always want to say something good, You could even say that you switched jobs in a different area, location, okay? It's going to be up to you. I want to let you know if you're building up your clientele and you're ready to move on to another one, okay? Let's say you think that you've got your clientele. That's what I'm going to say, because no matter how busy you are, okay, expect to lose 40% of your clientele when you get up and leave and move to another location. Okay, like say on the other side of town, because the client's going to look at this. Is it easy for me to get to where you're at right now? Is the parking easy for me to park? Can I see it? Is it going to be dark? Is it going to be, you know what I mean? They're looking at all of these other things that could go wrong. All right. And then they're thinking, well, I'll try it one time, but if I don't like what's over there, or I don't like the atmosphere over there, I'm not going to come back. So you can't think that you're going to take that 100% clientele with you. Okay. Expect to lose it. So you want to build up a little bit more than that 100% where you think it is, in case you lose some of that clientele. Nowadays, because the malls are open like 7 days, right? And some of them are open until 9 o'clock at night. People like to go to malls because they can get 4 or 5 things done at the same time, right? The weather's really nice inside of a mall. It's not raining. It's not too hot. Okay. I park once, I can get all these little things done at the same time, right? Or if you're in a little shopping store, like a grocery store shopping center, okay, and they have other businesses on the side, that's another good location, because people are always going to the grocery store and they're always seeing your business, so they might just try it because it's close to home. Okay, so these are reasons why people pick a certain place to begin with. Okay, your hours, you're open till 9 o'clock at night, okay, and you're open quite a few days, let's put it that way. Okay, those are things that they're going to be thinking about. All right, so you have to think in that same sense. Okay, are they going to follow me on the other side of town? Okay, what if I have to leave the whole town? You know what I mean? You're going to lose your whole clientele and have to start all over again. It's going to take you, and I'm saying this in the kindest way, it's going to take you at least 5 years to build up a clientele good enough that you can actually book yourself for 4 days straight, meaning 4 days in advance, you already have from the time you start till the time you finish book. Okay, the first day that you'll probably book up is going to be a Saturday. Okay, as you build your clientele, all right, Saturdays are the first because most people like to get it done on the weekend, right? Okay, then you might think of maybe one night of the week. Even if you don't work nights, at least give yourself a couple of hours on one night, okay? Because some people like to come in after work, okay? But I'm just giving you a hint on how you're going to be able to build up that clientele and to keep that clientele.
Yes, that is
You
true.
know, I'm thinking, oh my God, I got a clientele and I'm going to just go to the other side of town. And a lot of my clients said, you know what? I just don't like the area. It's not lit up. I can't, you know, I feel uncomfortable when I leave because I'm leaving and it's dark. Okay. Or I had to park a couple of blocks away or whatever it is. All right. Your hours aren't the same. So think of those things when you're building up that clientele. Okay. And once you start that clientele, keep the same, I want to say rules, but use the same kind of mentality all the time. Okay. From the time that you start until you finish in this industry, I guess you could say. If you start taking clients like one after the other, okay, and then one day you can't fit them in because they gave you 10 minutes notice, they're going to be upset. So my boss used to tell me, he goes, even if they haven't made an appointment, ask them to make the appointment. Okay, and if they cancel, ask them to leave a deposit if they're going to get a service done that's going to take like 2 to 3 hours. If you're going to be doing a color or a texture where you're going to be booked yourself out that time, they should pay that deposit up front, because that time, if they just don't cancel, you could have booked how many clients in that time? Especially if you were, go ahead.
That is so true, because that's what I do now, because I actually have my own shop in Oakdale. So that's what I do. I charge them a deposit fee just to book their appointments, just to hold their appointments, just so I know that they're coming. Because if you're not coming, you're not showing up, then, you know, it's a waste of my time, because I could have had 2 or 3 clients in here, you know, in that time slot. So yeah, so I work during the weekends, and sometimes I don't get out of my shop until 4 o'clock in the morning, because I do hair at night too. So it just depends.
Yeah, so if you do charge that fee, you do have to post that so that they can visibly see that when they come in. Yeah. Okay, so then you're not in any way responsible for that. They already know in advance that they're going to have to pay that fee. Ask them if they maybe want you to send them a text the day before, 24-hour notice, you know, hey, you got an appointment tomorrow at whatever, just a reminder. Okay, you can automatically do stuff like that.
We used to do that in London also. We used to charge like client, especially treatment that is more like 1 hour, 2 hours. We used to charge them like £10 for whatever treatment they book. And if they come, we deduct that £10 from the treatment. If they don't turn up, we keep the $10. the £10. If the client
That's
cancels
cheap.
24 hours, if they cancel 24 hours, we keep $5 and $5 go through her next treatment to reschedule. So that's
Oh,
how
that
we,
was nice.
yeah,
That was nice.
yeah,
Good.
that's how we used to do it. And the client were fine with it because, yeah, if you
They're
don't
still
turn up,
getting
then
paid
we,
for it. Yeah.
yeah, we
Yeah.
lose like 50, 60, 70 pound per hour. So we still get 10 pound out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what we used to do.
So these are things that you guys should all be thinking about, but I bet you never thought about any of that stuff, right? You're like, I just started beauty school. I just want to learn how to do hair first. They don't think about all the rest of the stuff. But you're going to be looking around and checking out salons anyways, if you haven't already, like just, oh, what's in this shop? I want to see what it looks like. And you kind of walk in and,
But
oh,
client
I like this.
change also, like the minor change you do that they are hard to kind of, I had my business back home, and when I moved here, I sold it to my two of my best friend, and they couldn't keep the client because my salon was quite small but very cozy. So my client kind of feel comfortable in that area the way it is. It was, so they started changing and making it more modern and stuff. So eventually they lost all my client. Yeah. And it was
Yeah.
like I was doing like on an appointment basis, and then it came like into a walking thing. So they lost all the client I had. Yeah. And now they just have to restart back to zero, whereas it was a business that was going good.
Yeah.
So
So
client
that's
are
basically
very,
what you want to do too. You want to follow through with what you started with, okay, towards the end. Those of you that are doing chemical services, even though that client will fill out a consultation, you know, prior to the service that you're going to get done, put your formulas on a card with their name and their phone number on it in case, you know, God forbid you have to, you know, leave the shop and you want your clientele to come with you, right? Okay, so most businesses will ask you, well, the client belongs to the salon, okay, first of all, because you got that client because you were in a salon, okay, that's how they'll phrase this. But I always made sure I had a copy of that formulation. I know this is a bad thing to say, but it's really not. It's protecting you. I'd always leave out one little tiny ingredient. It would still come up pretty close to what I was doing, but I always left out one little tweak to that thing so that I want that client back to come with me. I'm not going to give my formula to her because she's moving out of state. Never, because that's a ploy they like to use. You know, I'm not going to be coming to you anymore because, God, we're going to be moving to another state. Do you think I can get my formula so I can give it to my new hairdresser? And you're like, no. Say it's a salon policy. We do not hand out the formulations because, first of all, you went to school to learn how to make that formula. Okay, you came up with that formulation, so you should own that formulation. Does that make sense? So by you keeping that on a record, if something happens, you will be able to contact your clientele, right? So still fill out one for the salon, but you've got one for yourself that you can contact your own clients. A lot of times they do want to go with you, especially if you are doing services, chemical services on them. All right, that's really hard to get somebody else to fill in. Well, I don't know, you know, you don't look like the last hairstylist I did. Maybe I'll trust you, maybe I won't. That kind of, they get a little iffy on that. But once you get a formula that they like, they don't really leave. They kind of like to stay with you. Okay. So you will have to make record cards and things like that. What else do you do in the salon? Laundry. We don't have you doing laundry here except for maybe folding towels occasionally, but you might have to do the laundry, wash it. It sounds funny. I worked in LA for 22 years and we had a laundry service. So I never knew that people used washing machines till I came up to Modesto. I was like, why is there a washing machine in the back? They're like, because we're doing the laundry. And I'm like, what laundry? You don't have a service? They're like, no. And I'm like, oh. I literally did not know that people did laundry in their own salon. It makes great business sense, okay? Because we did go through a lot of towels. We had 20 stylists in there, but I had just never heard of it. A lot of things too that make a little bit no sense. You don't have a direct distributor for your products. You either buy your products through Cosmo Prof or you buy it through Salon Centrics, okay? There's maybe 3 or 4 lines that do still have a representative that comes up here, but once you pass Bakersfield, you have to get a middleman that actually supplies your stuff for you. In Los Angeles, because they're so close to everything, they have their own rep. So I would have 6, 7 different lines in the salon, and all I'd tell my rep was make sure the shelves were filled. So when she came in once or twice a week, she'd dust off her area, put in bottles to make sure it's always full, so that my clientele can purchase it, so it doesn't look like it's empty. I go, that was your job. You just take care of that. Up here, they don't do that. I'm like, they don't. They're like, no, you have to go through this rep here, which is like a middleman. Okay, you're paying a little bit more to get that product put on your shelves. I guess it's because it's so spaced out. Like in Los Angeles, a sales rep would have 20 miles. Okay, which isn't very much. Here they have almost sometimes from Fresno to San Francisco. These reps. Okay, that whole area, which is a very large area, but the salons aren't as many per square, I guess, mile. You know what I mean? So they have to actually book them in LA every 20 miles, but here they do it city to city, just depending on how much product or what's selling out in that area. I do know that if you're not selling retail, you're out a lot of money, okay? Because there's 100% markup on your products, all of it, okay? Every bottle that your boss bought or whoever bought the stuff for the shop, it's 100% markup. So if they paid $200, okay, you're charging $400 at least, okay? That's the minimum, all right? So that puts enough money in your pocket to pay for that $100 or whatever, and then pay for another replacement of that same product. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you don't hold the retail on that, and that boss does, you're not going to be seeing a retail commission, okay? They like to pay 20% of what you sold on a quarterly basis, which doesn't amount to very much. But if you actually put the line in there and you're holding that, you're getting all of that money in your back pocket. Does that make sense? A little thing that you can get for extra dollars, because if you don't have a lot of service dollars, meaning people that are getting haircuts or perms or colors or like that, at least you're selling product and it's still making money. Okay, because you have to make some money. The lights are on, right? They've got to be paid, whether you do a haircut or not, right? So your water's got to be on, all of those things. So the retail is a really good way of doing it. And sometimes you might have to put in a couple of lines that you're not using for, personally, but you want to keep a couple of different options open, because if they're going to still buy that product, okay, whether they buy it from you or the supply house, it's going to be up to you. So your client should be leaving with at least one product, believe it or not. And statistics say that if you ask 5 people if they want shampoo, okay, put that bottle right up there so they can see it, okay? 3 of them are going to purchase it, or they'll purchase one item in your salon, believe it or not. It's just that most of you don't ask. You don't think it's a big deal, but that's extra money that you could have in your pocket, okay? And if you sell a lot of it, you can actually get a lot more. I know that some of our top sellers, when I was working in the shop, my boss gave them a higher percentage because they were always selling, okay? So that's something to think about. But first, starting out, it's usually like 15 to 20% is what they'll give it. All right. God, I went right through this class, huh? I'm gonna let you guys go because I didn't even give you a break, huh? And it's already 2. Do you want to take your break now? You only got 20 minutes left when you come back. All right. I've done all the talking, so you're still getting out at 2:30.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you your break now, but I'm going to ask each one of you, okay, something about working in the shop, like where you want to work, what you want to do. Because I've only heard for a couple people in here. Anthony and Venetia basically are the only people that have been talking. So I want to get a little feedback from the rest of you. Okay. All right. So go ahead and take your break. We'll come back here at 10 after. Okay. All right. Thank you. Are you sleepy, Anthony?
Yes, I have to go to work.
Oh, how late?
3:30 to 7:30, so it's not bad, but.
There is a question.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Venetia, sorry.
There is a
Go ahead,
on
hon.
the assignment which says explain the benefit of applying the 80-20 rule to your career. What's that?
80/20 rule?
Yeah.
I think that's the retail. Is it?
Sorry?
Is it? Let me look inside here and see if that's, because I'm thinking 80/20, 20% would be you selling 20% to your client. But that's, I don't know if that's what they're talking about. Does it have it like under 6.1 or 6.2 or anything like that?
It's the assignment that school give us like every
Okay.
week. There is a
Okay.
question there, explain the benefits of applying the 80/20 rule to your career.
Okay, I will find out for you. Okay, really quick.
Okay, thank you.
When we come back from break, I'll have that answer. All right? Answer.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, be right back. Where'd you go? Venetia. Okay,
I'm here.
here's what the 80-20 rule means, okay? 80% of your beauty business profit comes from 20% of your clients. So there's 20% of your identified ideal clients, okay? That's who you choose, all right? And so a way to do this, it says to discover your ideal client profile, run a standard report on your salon software to find your top 20% highest spending clients, okay? So from that, that's going to increase your business a little bit more. Does that make sense?
Okay, so
20%
what
of your
it's
20% of your clients is going to make up 80% of your business. Okay, so if you're actually owner of a salon, all right, the highest paid thing in there, I mean, the most expensive thing that you pay out is going to be salaries. Okay, that's right off the top. So you're really not making a lot of money unless there are a lot of people doing making a lot of money. Do you see what I'm saying? If you rent it out, okay, you rent it out, say $300 each week for each person, okay? They could be pulling in, you know, 15 to 2 grand or something, and they're making all of that money. But if you had them on an hourly wage, okay, you could be making a little bit more money. Does that make sense? Okay, so as an owner, when I'm first starting out and I'm an owner, let's put it this way, I would rent out my booths to make sure that my rent is being paid for my business, okay? But once I built up my business a little bit, okay, I'm going to start charging. I'm going to either pay them hourly so I can make more of a profit on that end, okay, or I'm going to increase the rent very high. Does that make sense? Because 50% right off the top, that's a big chunk of change for your profit. So you have to balance it out somehow. So you're going to find the highest clientele, like the one that comes in there the most and spends all the time. So these are going to be your repeat clients, the ones that are getting color services like once a month, okay? Or, you know, they're getting some type of service every month, all right? You're going to put that in your preferred list, okay? And then you're going to start building from that for the rest of your clientele. Okay, because you want to increase your business, right? That's basically what they're trying to do, is to increase your business. All right, so most people will use that as a model to try to get more business. Does that make sense? Because you haven't got the 80% making what the 20% are doing, right? Because only 20% of your business is like your regular clients. But you want that other 80% to do it, correct? All right, so that's what we're trying to do, is to increase that other 80% to what the 20% was making. That's an example I guess I could give you. Got another one for us, Anthony?
I basically just looked up that in the search engine and I just put what it told me was there.
It talks about Pivot Point uses it's called let me see, Pareto or it's PARETO principle. Is that what they had in your textbook? I don't have a textbook in here, so I don't know.
It did,
but I looked it up.
Something like that.
Yeah, because you really are trying to increase it. A lot of people will tell you that if you own your own business, okay, you don't make too much more. You really don't make a lot more money because only 50% of that's going to be part of your profit, okay? Because you still have to pay out utilities and rent, okay? All of the things that you have to pay already, right off the top. So in actuality, there's only like 20%, 30% that you're actually making as a profit, all right? As a business owner, I'm just saying, okay? So if I was starting out and somebody just handed me a business, okay, I would make sure that my rent was paid for the, lease, whatever it is, okay? Make sure that that's paid. And in order to make sure that I have that money all the time, I would rent it first, okay? But once I started to see that I know they're making a lot of money, then they'll pay a higher amount in rent if I wanted to, or I'll hire people that are, hourly, because I'll make more money that way. If I pay them $15 an hour, right, and they're making a couple $100 an hour, who's going to be making off on the side? Right? Is that me? Did it break up? You didn't understand me?
No, I did.
Okay.
I did.
Okay. Because you really don't make a lot if you have a business that way, but you also have to think of where what your services for your rent, your utilities. I do know this, if you ever get into a mall, the mall is a completely different like lease that you have with them? Because most people will sign a 5-year lease. Okay, let's say you're in a strip mall, like a shopping center where the grocery store's at, okay? They'll sign a lease and all you have to do is pay your rent on time, okay, and follow maybe some rules. They may say that you have to start, the doors have to be open at a certain time, okay, and closed at a certain time. All right, in the mall, you have to open and close when they tell you to, otherwise 1-2 minutes, they fine you, okay?
Yeah.
You're on your own entity there, yeah. And if you're not making an increase in sales on a quarterly basis, okay, that means every quarter it needs to be higher than it was the last time. If you do not, then your lease is null and void. So even though I signed a 5-year contract, okay, or a 5-year lease, all right, and my business isn't showing an increase in profits, okay, they don't want you in there. So they actually ask you to leave. That's why a lot of businesses will go into the mall and then the next, couple months later, 6 months later, they're out because they're not showing that increase. Huh?
Yep, all the time I see it. all
It's
the
sad.
time.
It's really sad. They're their own little entity, like their own little town inside of a mall, because that's where I worked. And I learned that because I managed. I was like, are you kidding me? So what I did to increase was I put more product in there so that people that even if they didn't get a style or something done, they could come in and know that they could buy shampoo or product in there. The more product I had, the more money I could sell as far as retail when my service dollars were low. Okay, how about when at Christmas time when they run that 24-hour sale, okay? When the mall's open for 24 hours and then mandatory, I had to leave my store open 24 hours. Okay, I couldn't let hairstylists work 24 hours, okay? I'm barely get them in there 8 hours. But what I did was I had 2 receptionists or 3 receptionists. I split that time up. They each had 8 hours, okay? And as long as I left my doors open and I could sell product, I was fine. I didn't break the lease, okay? Didn't say I had to have stylists 24/7. It said I had to leave my doors open. So there was like a little window that I could kind of fall out of it. And I just had to have a receptionist there. But there's certain things that the mall makes you do. It's like mandatory because you are in that mall, even though you have your own business.
You have the option, like, you can close your doors, but if you close your doors outside of what they want, you get charged a fine.
Yep. Uh-huh. And on top of that, there's a lot of little different rules that they have in there, okay? This is so crazy. When you rent a place there, you're renting just the square footage, okay? And I mean just the square footage. You have a box, that's it. There's no floor, there's no air conditioning, there's no heating, there's no sinks, there's nothing. It's a concrete box, okay? And so when you go in there, you have to put in the plumbing, you have to put in everything that you need for your business in there. Bathrooms, washer dryers, whatever. The weird part is that air conditioning and heating. I was just like in shock when that one was told me. But anyways, when you leave that business, you have to take all of that out with you. Okay. So I remember them putting my salon, the salon that I was working at, up here when it first opened. This mall opened up way before you guys were born. Okay. And it looked like they were going to take at least another 2 or 3 weeks to get the whole thing open, because there were no floors in there the day I went. 2 days later, they had floors in, walls in, sinks in, plumbing, air conditioning, heating, everything. I was like, wow, that goes in fast, okay? Because it really does. But once you go in there, literally you have to take all that out when you leave because you don't own, you're only leasing it or you're only renting it with them, okay? And they do make you have an increase in profits. You've got to show your books to them, right? Which is kind of crazy. It's like, I rent from you, you get out of my business. That's what I want to say, but the mall is the only one that requires you to do all these other hoops to run through it. And the rent's the highest too there. It is the highest anywhere you're going to find. So think about that if that's what you're looking for. Mostly chains will go in there. Yeah, mostly a chain business will go in there. I think Regis was in there for a while. And my business that I worked for, they were a chain, but they were only in Los Angeles and they decided to go north. So they didn't last long up here. They just couldn't make the money they were making in there. And when I got up here, I was like, how much for a haircut? And I'm like, I'll starve to death. I've never made that kind of money. Not even when I first started cutting hair, I never made that low of money. And I'm like, okay, this is going to be hard because it's like starting all over again when you move completely out of the area. My clients are going to drive from Los Angeles all the way up here for a haircut. So it was a big change, but I ended up getting into teaching instead. But I kind of like the teaching part. I really do. Especially the aesthetic part of it. But I like the theory too, just the background of why we have to do the things that we do.
You don't miss doing it?
What was that?
You don't miss doing it?
Oh yeah, I do. Oh yeah, I do. And I still do, like certain people, I have a lot of friends that I will do and charge them when I go to their house or something like that. I will do that. But I don't miss the whining, you know, of people not showing up. I just kept thinking, these people are lazy. Nobody wants to come in for their correct shift, or they're calling in sick, or they've always got some excuse for not being there. I'm like, I can't deal with that anymore as a manager. I'm like, either you work for me or you don't. I'm really not that part of a person to work for, but I want you here and I want you working when I'm hired you, you know? And I think that's what I mean. Most people think that none of the kids, when they get out of high school, or excuse me, high school, out of beauty school, they don't want to work. They only want to do maybe 1 or 2 clients for the day. And they're like, oh God, I was so busy today. And I'm like, busy is when you're taking 2 clients at the same time, one's being shampooed for you, right? It's crazy. You guys don't have any idea what busyness is yet. And
That's the worst thing when you have your business. When I had mine, one of my girl working, one day I found myself with like 2 clients because she didn't turn up. She had an argument with the boyfriend or whatever. So she didn't turn up, and I see myself with like 2 clients at the same time. So that's the worst thing. That's how I decided to work on my own. So I didn't have any girl working with me. I was working on my own. I would book client like on appointment basis, and I was making good money. I don't want to rely on people anymore because they are young. They don't want to work.
Yeah, that's just it. They don't want to work. They're thinking that 2 clients a day. And I said, you know what? I used to play, and I still do in my own classroom. I have the girls, when we get to salon business, I go, okay, so we're going to have fake money, and whatever you do for today, okay, is how you're going to be paid. I said, and I'm going to get 50% of whatever commission that you did today. So there's like 2 or 3 of them needed 2 facials. They're like, okay, I'm done. I go, okay, so we charged $85 for a facial, and you had to give me half of that. So how much did you make today? And I go, oh, wait, and there's taxes, insurance. And when they were done, they were like, I don't have any money. I go, exactly. So you're going to have to learn to get your speed up, because if you're lagging, going, oh, I want a blow dryer here, even though she's not paying for it, I just want to see what it looks like. That type of stuff is going to take the time away that you could be making the money. Do you see what I'm saying? And it's kind of funny as an owner, when you look at your stylist and they're saying, I just want to blow dry this part so I can see it. I go, okay, you didn't charge her for that. I go, but think about it, took my electricity to turn the blow dryer on to dry her hair, okay? Or you guys want to give somebody a trim, okay? You use the clippers, which was my electricity again, okay? And the lighting you had to use because you didn't want to do it outside. I go, there are little things that you don't think about when you're just, you know, working for somebody. You don't take that into consideration. You think it's no big deal. But if I was the owner and I'm looking at how you take your clients, if it takes you 2 hours to do a haircut, for crying out loud, I'm not going to keep you. You should be able to get a haircut down, just the hair cutting part, at least down to 15 minutes, okay? But when you're out of school, at least 30, okay, for a basic haircut. We're looking at 30 minutes. My boss had a 30-minute men's haircut. That meant shampoo, condition, cut, and blow dry, okay? For women, we had 45 minutes for shampoo, cut, and blow dry, and styling with an iron, okay? So you had to get your speed up. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you do not get your speed up, you're not going to make any money. You're just not, okay? Unless you're doing actually some chemicals, because I'm going to weigh this to you. Do you want to do 20 haircuts, okay, and you made $200, or do you want to do 1 person and do a color and make $200? Which one is going to be smarter, right? It's going to be easier for you to do that 1 client for $200 than it would be to do 20 clients, right? So those of you that say, I just want to do haircuts, do you really want to do 20 haircuts all day long? I looked at haircutting as like an up service. I go, it's adding fries to my order, making it, you know, a meal instead of just the burger, right? When the haircut was an add-on service from maybe a chemical that I did, okay? That's how I looked at haircuts, all right? Because really that's all it is. If you're doing a chemical to her and then she's saying, okay, a trim, how long should it take you to do that trim? 15, 20 minutes. So that's how you're going to get your speed down. In coloring, if you can't get that hair color on in like 5 to 7 minutes, okay, do you know what happens to the color as it's sitting in that bowl? It takes you 30 minutes to apply it. Half the head's already processed and the color that's in the bowl is already gone. It doesn't work anymore. So that's why they tell you to get your speed up on like application, because half of it'll process it one way and then the other half won't get the full application and the color will be weaker, right? Sits in the bowl, it starts to oxidize, and then there goes your time. Right? So you have to think of those things when you're still here at school, because this is giving you, believe it or not, the opportunity to build those skills. Okay, build up a clientele where you can speak to them comfortably. Because a lot of people are really shy. They don't like to talk to people or ask them anything. They're like, so what did you say you wanted to get done? And you're like, what? How'd you want your hair done? You have to be able to talk to people, okay? You've got to be able to ask the right questions, okay? You don't want to ask people questions that they can go, yes, no, yes, no. You want to ask an open-ended question where they have to actually feed back to you what they really want. And then you want to repeat it back to them in your own words, what you thought you heard, okay? So that everybody's clear, right? Because sometimes we think we know what we're saying, or hearing, it's different. People used to say, oh, I just want a half an inch taken off. So I'm like, okay, do you know how much a half an inch is? And they're like, yeah, about like that. Okay, so her half inch or her inch may be totally different than what we learn in school, which is an inch or a half an inch. Okay, I used to have a little charm that was an inch ruler. So when clients would say, I want an inch off, I go, this is how much an inch is. I got a ruler right here. So it kind of made, it was like a little joke, but it's true. You know, you ask people how much do they want off of their hair, and they're like, just a little bit. Or just, you know, take a little bit off the top, take a little bit more off the back. You just want to be clear about what you're doing, because you don't want to have to redo it, like the story I was telling before we started, right? You want to redo the haircut 4 times, and everybody else for the rest of the day is backed up for an hour because that one client just messed everything up. So it's a lot easier to spend that extra 5 minutes to find out what's actually being done and get it right than to spend a little bit longer, and then the rest of the afternoon, every appointment from that point forward is going to be behind. Okay. Any of you work in a shop right now at all, doing anything? Okay. Shouldn't not be doing hair, but you can work in there as like a receptionist, you know, or a stalker or something like that. I'm going to let you know that's a great experience. Okay. Getting out. And those of you that think you want to shadow, get paid for it. Don't go in shadowing for free. Okay. They have to at least pay you minimum wage. Okay. For every hour, at least. That's the minimum. Okay. There's a law now. When I went to school and got out in the field, it was commission only. So I could have sat there all day and I didn't make a dime. Okay, that's how people were paid back in the day. All right, so it was kind of sad. I was lucky that I was in a shop that my boss kept me busy. I was making way too much money for somebody my age. I was like 18, it was just, money was flying everywhere. I'm not kidding. And they kept 2 sets of books. They had a set of books for people that paid with cash, and then a separate book for people that paid with credit card and checks, because that was a paper trail. So, and then your tips on top of it, and we were paid weekly. I was bringing home $800-900 a week. I was only 18 years old. I was like, oh my God. So it was kind of funny, but it taught me a lot to be that busy, okay? Because I was never that busy in school, ever. Like I said, 1 or 2 clients a day if I got that. All right, so it's something, if you cannot just use your time wisely when there's downtime, if you don't have a client, get on a doll head and start practicing to get your speed up. That's what you have to do. Okay, you want to be fully prepared when you go and ask for that job. Okay, because most places will let you go for 90 days. They're looking at the first 30 days. Regis has this method that they use when they hire new people. Okay, they don't hire a bunch of them at the same time. They'll hire one person. Okay, and they will feed you all the walk-ins that come in for the next 3 months. Okay, every walk-in, if you're open, you're going to be taking a client, and that's to build up your clientele. They figure that if somebody gets a haircut once a month, okay, that's 3 times you should have cut that person's hair, and that should be a regular client by now. Okay, if you can't keep any type of a clientele after 3 months, they get rid of you right then and there. They're going to cut their losses, and then they're going to hire somebody else. And that's exactly how they think their business should be run. And it does work. If you can't see a repeat business after 3 months, then you're not doing something right. Okay, you really aren't. Especially if I'm giving you all those clients and you're staying busy for 3 months, why couldn't you keep any of them? Right? So it'd be on you at that point. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any questions? I know this kind of got a little off topic, so you're going to have to go through that part of the book, and we'll start on 4 tomorrow. Okay? You guys good?
So how is this week gonna go? Because I know we start spring break April 1st. So
Right.
does that mean
You're
that we
not coming to
have to go?
school. You're not coming to school on Thursday or Friday or Saturday of this week, but you will.
Okay.
We're going to try and go through 6.4 tomorrow, which is basically the business and different types of businesses and how you're paid and your assets and how to get a loan and that kind of stuff. We'll cover that. Hopefully I can get through that part tomorrow. Okay, it doesn't look like it's too long, but get through it. And then when you come back on the following Tuesday, we'll review some questions that'll only be on this part of it, you know, the part that we're actually doing a lesson plan on, because the other part, I can't give you a test on yourself, but you do have to complete that work and turn it in, all right? You get credit today. So
Okay.
when you come back on Tuesday, you'll take that test, okay? Because I don't
Okay.
want
And
to
what time do we
give
start tomorrow?
Yeah.
What time do we start tomorrow?
We start at 12:30,
Okay.
okay? All right.
Okay.
Are there any
Thank you.
questions, you guys? No? Okay, then I'll see you tomorrow, all right? Okay.
Bye, Miss Jenny.
Bye, guys. Thank you.